Chiang Mai Tzu Chi volunteers host an aid distribution to help 107 impoverished families pass a good year. Tzu Chi volunteers accompany the survivor families of Taroko derailment accident, hoping that they can turn their pain into great love. 歡迎收睇DaAi Headlines， 我係 Rebellious， 我哋一齊嚟睇下今日嘅內容。In northern Thailand, many students' parents only do odd jobs to earn a meager income. Tzu Chi volunteers distributed daily necessities and second-hand clothes so that 107 families can have a good year.
Students from Bangsan Sai School in Chiang Mai province assisted Tzu Chi volunteers in arranging package of the rice. Many families with no fixed income are about to face financial difficulty.
คุณยาวที่สวนส้มแล้ววันละได้เท่าไหร่230แล้วตอนที่โควิด -19 อ่ะได้เงินไหมไม่ได้เงินเลย
There are over 100 households in village who only rely on a daily salary for their livelihood. As they are about to welcome the new year in April, so local volunteers launch a charity sale.
Because the Songkran festival is also the new year for the Thai people. If there is no food at home, it will be pitiful. So I made nuggets for charity. Some donated 500, while others donated 2,000. And there are people who donated 50, adding up to 200 for 4 people. It becomes such a caring activity.
With the donation, volunteers could purchase materials plus the second-hand clothes donated by kind people so that the distribution can be carried out smoothly.
ก็เลยว่าก่อนสงกรานต์ก็รีบๆมาส่งให้เนาะข้าวเนาะขอให้โชคดีนะ
Every semester, we'll have the opportunity to visit students' home and saw that their lives are really hard. Today, Tzu Chi sent over the supplies and second-hand clothes. I'm very happy for them.
Recently, pandemic in Thailand has gradually eased, and the plight of each family can also be relieved. May the arrival of the Tzu Chi assistance will make the residents' New Year go well.
Recently, in New Taipei City, Gongliao and Keelung Nuannuan, Tzu Chi volunteers sent out electric medical beds to several patients so that they can have a better quality of life.
要抱它，那你自己可以调到某个。
辅具也是环保的延伸啊。我们有这个平台以后，我觉得这个部分我们可以来去做这样的一个小小的付出，然后得到使用者他能够安心使用，这个是最大的一个动力。
On a rainy day in early spring, Tzu Chi volunteers are busy moving out an electric bed from the second-hand assistive devices warehouse. The destination of the bed is Grandma Jan's house in Gongliao, New Taipei City. She has been bedridden for many years. Her children would like to improve her sleeping quality.
I have been hoping to buy an electric bed for my mom, but it is too expensive for my family. Last Friday, I met a Tzu Chi sister who came here to promote free clinic. I asked her to help my mom apply for Tzu Chi's assistive device. As a result, the bed was delivered to us today. I'm very touched.
Volunteers move the electric bed into Jan's house and carefully teach the family members and the caregiver how to operate it.
The electric bed is very convenient and it's more comfortable for Grandma to lie on it.
I knew a lot of nurses who always have back pain. Some even have to consult Chinese medicine doctors and it's quite difficult to recover. Now, it's actually a win-win situation, no matter for the nurse or my mother.
Volunteers' delivery service are not only carried out at daytime. Mr. Chen, who lives in Nuannuan, is to be discharged from the hospital the next day. His family contacted Tzu Chi volunteers one day before to deliver an electric bed weighing up to 100 kilograms to his home.
When we were in Chang'an Hospital, the bed was similar to this one. It just happened my classmate told me that Tzu Chi has some assistive devices for us to borrow. I'm really grateful for the service.
Tzu Chi brothers and sisters explained clearly how to operate the electric bed and how to adjust its angle so that the patient can feel the most comfortable. Thank you, brothers and sisters, for their assistance.
Whether it's cloudy or sunny, daytime or nighttime, as long as the public need it, Tzu Chi second-hand assistive team must achieve its mission.
A junior high school student at Waipu, Xue Liyun, used to be a rebellious kid. He smoked, rode a scooter, and even kept on swearing. However, in his 8th grade, he had a 180-degree change and became a well-mannered person. Let's see why he has such change.
At the little garden next to the gym, the students all have their own task to do. Cultivating the garden is much like nurturing one's heart. The same principles apply.
We are planting seeds, which are small, right? We are being careful to plant the seeds, just like life. At the start of each stage of our lives, we must be careful.
Class leader Xue Liyun is carefully planting the seed. Looking at him now, it's hard to see that 2 years ago he was a rebellious teenager. He would smoke and ride motorbikes behind his mother's back.
My mother didn't know me at school. It was like I was two different people. At school, I was such a bad kid.
Imitating how he was before, Xue feels embarrassed at his past, but he knew he wanted to change his ways.
He was changing the second half of the 7th grade, and he completely turned around in the 8th grade. That's why I asked him to be the class leader in the 9th grade.
During his 8th grade year, he completely changed his attitude and also stopped swearing. During his lunch break, he would volunteer to run errands for the teachers. His change can be attributed to the teacher's adaptive agricultural education as well as the unconditional love of his mother. Xue's mother is busy with work, but used to get notified to pick him up at school a lot. However, she doesn't get angry with them. Instead, she uses gentle parenting methods.
Most parents head to the principal's office angry at the children and start yelling, but I choose to calmly narrate the situation. You see that I'm busy, but I have to come to the school. Wouldn't I be more worried about you?
No longer living a double life, Xue helps out with household chores and makes time for the family work during the weekend. Who knew that being rebellious could be a nurturing part of life, just like the papaya tree in the garden, continuing to grow stronger despite a few setbacks.
The papaya tree was on the verge of dying, but then it fought to survive and is now stronger. It met the challenge head on and didn't give up, much like how I am now.
The number of new immigrants in Taiwan has exceeded 567,000, becoming an ethnic group that cannot be ignored. But now the movement of new immigrants has dropped significantly, indicating that Taiwan may be less attractive when compared to other countries. Follow our report as we learn more.
What you see here and buy and sell here are all from Southeast Asia. This is Taichung's Asian Square, which is a place of pilgrimage for new immigrants.
There are many Vietnamese people here and many Vietnamese shops.
In this supermarket, you can buy Indonesian, Vietnamese, and Philippines products. There are things from various Southeast Asian countries. Supermarket operators are even working with bank branches so you can remit money to family members in your home country.
According to the Immigration Bureau, as of the end of January 2021, the number of new immigrants has exceeded 560,000. With the addition of 710,000 foreign workers, this is more than 1 million people. As long as each person spends $100 per month, this will lead to spending of $1.6 billion a year.
Every month they get money on the 10th, and that Saturday is when they are the most generous and spend the most.
In the shopping mall, not only consumers are from Southeast Asia, but many shop owners are also new immigrants.
They know that the boss is making money and they also go to set up a shop.
Xiao Yu's from Vietnam, the largest restaurant in Asian Plaza, is hers.
You see, it looks very much like Vietnam, all the scenery here. I thought about it all by myself.
19 years ago, Xiaoyu came to Taiwan alone.
I want to help mom and dad. If I come to Taiwan to work, I can do overtime for an hour and I can help mom and dad live in Vietnam for one day.
Leaving her hometown without support, armed only with the belief that success can be achieved with hard work, Xiaoyu has endured many hardships. Now she has more than a dozen stores and her business map extends from Taiwan back to Vietnam.
It used to be very bitter, but now I think I can make money wherever I go. It's true that you can also make money when you sleep.
The current proportion of new immigrants in Taiwan sees China occupying 63%, followed by Vietnam at 20%, Indonesia at 5%, Hong Kong and Macau at 3%. The Philippines and Thailand are both 2% and Cambodia 1%. Outside of China and amongst Southeast Asia, Vietnam still ranks first. The champion in singing competition, she is fluent in both Mandarin and Taiwanese.
In my heart, I thought that I want to make money by myself, and how I want to spend it is my own business. There is no need for me to ask you.
In fact, when she first arrived in Taiwan, she couldn't speak a word of Chinese. After learning Chinese, she went to the court, police station, and immigration office as a volunteer translator.
You want to express a lot, but some may only express about 2% of what they want to say. Take me as an example. As long as I work hard, I can have a stage in Taiwan where I can perform.
When Li Hao wanted to be a beautician, but she had no chance in her hometown. She married and came to Taiwan. All the hardships in her life did not obliterate her ambition. In order to realize her wish, she sold betel nut, was a laborer at construction sites, and slept in the park for several months.
It was really difficult and many people won't be able to do it.
Every cent was her hard-earned money, and she accumulated it bit by bit. In her 22nd year of coming to Taiwan, she finally bought a house and opened a shop.
I'm very satisfied with my current life. I can have such a comfortable environment.
New immigrants came to Taiwan 20 years ago because there are more job opportunities in Taiwan than their hometowns. But the trend of population movement has changed in recent years.
Whether it is new immigrants from China or other foreign nationals, from the new southbound policy, the number of new immigrants here has significantly reduced.
Our Vietnamese economy is developing very well. There is now lots of work in Vietnam.
The movement of the children of new immigrants is supported by their family background. For example, if a child moves to Cambodia, they will live with parents, relatives, and friends, as all of them are supported by contacts.
Information now circulates on the internet, and the world has no borders. If you want talents to stay in Taiwan, then everything from policies to culture should be more enticing.
In the recent Taroko derailment accident, 21-year-old military police Tsai Wei-juan took on the faithful Ching, planning to meet her family for a family trip. She had just contacted her family 1 minute before the accident, but was then lost connection forever. It is hoped that her family would turn their pain into great love of helping others. Tsai Wei-juan is finally going home. 5 of her relatives accompanied her body and drove 6.5 hours from Nuannuan to Tainan. The military police are standing in front of the funeral parlor to greet their colleague, Tsai Wei-juan, who was 21 years old. She loved sports and was followed by chief officers.
She has been a military for more than 2 years, as she was going to Taipei for training for a month.
On the day of the accident, she took the Taroko Express train from Taipei to Nuannuan to meet her family. On the way, she also sent a message to ask her family if she needed to buy mochi. But after this message, she lost connection with her family forever.
She sent a message to us at 9:27, while the accident happened at 9:28.
The family trip has become a journey of pain. The family handled her funeral affairs in Nuannuan and interacted well with the Jinsi Abodama master, who specially went there to care. It turns out that the family has joined Tzu Chi for a long time.
As a Tzu Chi member, we empathize with them. Our commissioner automatically contacted the team leader, saying that the accident happened in our place and everyone wanted to come.
She had been very good and had led a smooth life. With her accident, I hope to inspire her mom and dad to join Tzu Chi. My little daughter also said she wanted to be a volunteer.
Hui Zhuan's grandma is a devout Buddhist. It is hoped that through this event, the pain of Hui Zhuan's passing can be turned into great love to help others. There are still many heartwarming stories in the tragedy scene. Mr. Lei's wife and their 1-year-old son only have fractures and minor injuries. Recalling that time, it was daughter Wu Kunji of Nuannuan Tzu Chi Hospital who comforted the frightened little boy and also held Mrs. Lei's hand to cheer her on. It was not easy to get a ticket to Taitung, and this mother and son pair even took a picture before departure. Yet they didn't expect to get on a Taroko train that derailed.
When she heard the train driver honk the horn twice, the first she did was to turn around to embrace the child. But in less than 3 seconds, she and the child were hit and thrown out. Then she said it was completely dark.
It was completely dark. Only the anxious cry of the rescuers were heard. Mrs. Lei had a shin fracture, and her child suffered multiple traumas. But fortunately, both of them were saved. Recalling the moment, a daughter in red robe was there to accompany them.
Because my wife was lying there, and she actually wanted to sleep. She was very weak. It's Dr. Wu who kept holding her hand, calling her and encouraging her to hold on for our child.
In a dim tunnel, the doctor carried little Lei in his hands, and this moving scene was captured.
The kid was flustered at first. He kept holding on to his mother. I told him that she was injured, and after we cured her, we would return her to him. He started to struggle a little bit, but then I told him, we won't have any injection today, so you don't have to worry. After that, he just leaned on me obediently.
He is Wu Kunji, an orthopedist at Nuannuan Tzu Chi Hospital, and also the leader of the rescue team. He devoted himself to disaster relief, but in a scene of a living hell like this, he also needed to try hard to adjust his emotion.
I try to forget every piece of it. In fact, my current state of mind is empty, absolutely empty. My mind is slowly forgetting about it. What worries me now is that I'm going to do a surgery later today. I hope I can return to my normal status as soon as possible.
The bloodstained doctor's robe is a testament to his heroic dedication. In a dark disaster scene, it lights up a ray of hope for all the survivors. Some firefighters and police officers were the first to arrive at the accident scene. Seeing many mutilated bodies, they may potentially suffer post-traumatic stress. 2 psychiatrists of Nuannuan Tzu Chi Hospital specially went to the funeral parlor to provide spiritual consultation for police officers, survivors' families, and volunteers. At the scene of the accident, the police were unafraid of any difficulties and joined the frontline rescue. Yet they actually faced considerable pressure, both physically and psychologically.
The remains of many victims were quite incomplete, especially for our forensic colleagues who were on the front line to deal with this tragedy.
The psychiatry department of Nuannuan Tzu Chi Hospital has set up spiritual care in the funeral parlor, and 2 psychiatrists are there to help people express their emotions.
With this professional counseling service, I believe it will be better for their physical and mental health in the future.
We also hope that through this kind of self-examination, people can check if they feel uncomfortable. If they can do this, they'll know these situations are actually expected and predictable. They won't think they are different from others.
Through the checklist, people can observe whether they have sleep difficulties, depression, fright, easily tensed body, and frequent disaster-related nightmares, etc. After knowing the post-traumatic stress response, if one has uneasy thoughts for more than a month, he should seek medical advice or treatment as soon as possible. Some Tzu Chi volunteers were also slightly injured in the accident. They returned to the Jinxu abode to share their frightening experience with Dharma Master Zhen Yan, who blessed them and urged everyone to cherish peace.
When I regained consciousness, I was already lying on the ground, but why was I on the ground? I have no idea.
Recalling the scene of the Taroko derailment accident, the injured volunteer Ding Zhangchuan still has lingering fears.
I heard a very strong sound of metal rubbing. It's really very strong. I thought something must happen, and this would not be simple but very serious.
Another volunteer, Chen Bolin, was fortunate enough to suffer only minor injury. She kindly recorded the scene at the time and also witnessed Taiwanese mutual assistance.
In the carriage, everyone was very friendly and cooperative. Even though they didn't know each other, they didn't argue but just stayed silent and waited for the arrival of rescue personnel.
Chen Meihui, who is the nursing staff of Taipei Tzu Chi Hospital, was also on the same train. At the time of the accident, she kindly provided simple assistance to the injured. The next day, she also accompanied the families of the victims back to the scene of the accident.
I really feel what is called a drizzling rain falls like tears on the tomb-sweeping day. The mourner's heart is breaking on his way, because at that moment there was drizzling rain and the crows were calling sadly. When the wind blew over, I really felt the impermanence of life.
大家的教育，那有气无言，那一段时间唔知咧讲啥嘿，感觉心咧真忧郁。原来呢，这场梦，原来现在听到大家人呢，伫咧叙述恶梦，恶梦应该都是过去啦，但是过程真可贵。 这叫做经历生命浩劫，平安转来，这就是生命的可贵。真正是有真多不可思议啦。
This great lesson teaches us the impermanence of life. It is hoped that the frightening nightmare will pass soon, and everyone can cherish our peace even more. Upon learning about Taiwan's tragedy, students and teachers of Al Manahel International School in Turkey, as well as the local Tzu Chi care recipients' families, prayed and gathered donations, hoping to send their deepest condolence to Taiwan.
اللهم اشفي إخوتنا في تايوان في حادث القطار يا أرحم الراحمين.
أول سفر أهله وما جزاء الإحسان إلا الإحسان.
أنا أشكركم أيها الطلاب وأيتها الطالبات على وقفتكم.
Thank you, students, for their thoughts and concerns in the situation. They are, of course, saddened by Taiwan's tragic train wreck, as at the core of it, we are brothers and sisters.
لما أصاب هؤلاء الإخوة لأن الإنسان أخو الإنسان.
When the students and teachers of Al Manahel International School heard about the Taroko Express derailment, they prayed for those affected by this tragedy.
We send our deepest condolence. Our thoughts and prayers are with Taiwan.
جزاء ما قدموه لنا نحن السوريين الأطفال الأيتام من حيث دراستهم وتعليمهم ونحن سندعو لهم بالجنة وسنجمع التبرعات لهم للمساعدة.
No matter if it's the ones in school or those learning remotely, as well as the 9,000 of the Tzu Chi care recipient families in Turkey, they all send their prayers to Taiwan in hopes of easing the pain and suffering.
Team members in Las Vegas, the United States, hosted a tea gathering to thank those who have helped out in the COVID vaccinations for the elders. We'll leave you with these images. Thank you and see you next time.